welcome back to another lesson on erosion. This time we are going to be talking about erosion in the biggest bodies of water on Earth, in the oceans. Now, I made a model here and it's very, very small because that's what the materials I had available to me to do it. But I want you to imagine the ocean. Maybe you've been to the ocean, to a beach somewhere, and you have seen how big the ocean is, how much water there is. Now, the water in the ocean is always moving, and the water in the ocean has been moving since the very first water on Earth. And remember, we've talked about that. We've talked about how that very first rain, way back when the crust had just formed, and the first rain came down and sizzled away. And it took a very long time for rain to fall on Earth and stay liquid water. But once the Earth was cool enough that liquid water stayed liquid when it landed on the surface, ever since that time, water has been doing its work of flowing down and out and carving, carrying, and depositing. And in the oceans, this work is happening too. Because if you've ever noticed, the water in the oceans isn't staying still. The water in the oceans is always moving, and this motion is called the waves. Now, waves are formed by lots of different things. Waves are formed by the tides, which change twice a day. We get 2 high tides and 2 low tides a day. So the tides cause waves to change, storms and wind. And most of the time, waves are pretty gentle, just like this. But once in a while, there's a big storm, like a hurricane, or a big winter storm, and they cause the water to wash up on the shore and beat harder and harder. And as this is happening, you'll see that there's some landforms starting to show. You can see the beginning of an arch right over here and the beginning of a big rock. This rock and that rock are stronger and aren't eroding as fast as the softer rock around them. So we're gonna let these waves keep brushing against the shore. And now we see, look at this cliff that's formed. Now we have a sea cliff. In the places where there's not a cliff, this area right down here, ooh, there's even a shell. This area is a beach. And everywhere where the water meets the land is called the shoreline. Some places we get nice sandy beaches because there's a lot of sand to erode away. Some places we don't get any sandy beaches because the rocks are so hard that there's no sand. We're gonna let this keep eroding, carving, carrying, depositing the sediments. During this time, it's not just the waves that are eroding, but there would also be rain eroding and rivers bringing sediment from the land down into the water. Now you see the arch is fully formed. We can see all the way through it. This is called a haystack rock when we've got hard rock left behind. I'm gonna get rid of a little bit of our water so we can see what's happening. There's a lot of water in there. Okay. So as the water keeps doing its work, you can see now we've got a nice beach formed. Ooh, now look up here. Now we have some tide pools forming. Tide pools form where there's lower spots up on the land, and when the tide goes out, it leaves water stranded. And there's lots of special creatures that live in tide pools where they can survive with the water. And they are in the open ocean some of the time and on the land some of the time. Look at here, we've got a sea cave forming as the softer sediment is eroded out of there. A nice sandy beach. This would be a nice place to go and relax. So as long as there has been water on Earth, it has been doing its work. Whether it's in a river, carving, carrying, and depositing, or falling as rain and carving, or from waves, which carve, carry, and deposit sediment on the coastlines. I'm going to pour out some water so we can see our little places. And here we can see we have tide pools, beachy sand areas, a sea cave, a sea arch, and a haystack rock. What's really interesting to think about is that rivers are carving, carrying, and depositing sediment from the land all the time. And they carve it and carry it to the lowest spots, which happen to be our oceans. They happen to be our coastlines. Now, rivers are bringing sediment down and putting them at the edge of our ocean. And then our ocean waves are taking that sediment and moving it. And so when we think about that, rivers are shaping the shape of the land forms on Earth, but it's the ocean waves that are carving the continent edges. All of our continents are shaped the way they are because of the ocean waves. The erosion by waves are what give our coastlines their character and their different things. I'm going to show a couple clips of some other videos that show erosion by waves. Erosion by waves, it's so powerful. It can move so much material, so much sand and so much rock so quickly that you'll have to see it in a video. And so I want you to think about these new things. In your journal, you're going to draw a picture of these different kinds of landforms that are formed by waves. And I can't wait to see how you follow up. I'll see you next time.